"I won with my attitude, my mindset, and my short game," Rory said, his voice calm but proud. "I chipped and putted really well that week. A lot of recovery shots. But no one saw this coming from Rory McIlroy." The entire PGA froze in disbelief after what just went down. A wild twist that shattered months of doubt and dragged every critic back into silence.
I won with sort of my attitude and my mindset and my short game. I chipped and putted really well that week. A lot of recovery shots I played really well.
Subscribe to Golf Swing for more shocking moments and raw comebacks like this one, because Rory's story is far from over. For weeks, people swore Rory's flame was gone, that his best days were behind him. But at the Players' Championship, he made the world choke on its words. Under that ruthless Florida sun, McIlroy didn't just win, he owned that course. Every swing was smooth like art in motion. Every putt dropped like destiny itself. Every move he made screamed confidence, not luck, not chance, just straight-up class. The crowd went insane. Flashes lit up the sky, and for the first time in ages, golf had its king back on the throne again. But here's the real twist. What does this win really mean? Because this wasn't some random trophy moment. This was Rory firing a message loud and clear. A message to the critics who clowned him, the rivals who ignored him, and even those PGA suits who quietly questioned if he still had it. When he stepped off that 18th green, hugging Erica and little Poppy, tears rolling down his face, that wasn't just emotion, it was vindication. Months ago, scandals and media heat almost broke him. But with one legendary performance, Rory flipped the script and turned all that noise into straight fire. The officials froze, rivals just stared, and fans knew instantly they were witnessing Rory McIlroy's rebirth. The energy was insane. After all the chaos, the equipment drama, the doubts about his swing, the non-stop rumors about tension off the course, Rory took every ounce of that pressure and lit it up like fuel. His final round wasn't safe or scared, it was fearless, dripping with confidence and pure swagger. Every birdie he dropped felt like a punch to his critics. Every fist pump a reminder. The king was back. This wasn't for the cameras. It was personal. Rory wasn't just swinging to win. He was out to make a statement. And that statement hit harder than anyone expected. Rory McIlroy isn't finished. Not even close. When that scoreboard flashed his name at the top, the whole golf world felt the ground shake beneath their feet. This wasn't just a win. It was a comeback cry, a full-blown resurgence. But the real story sits deeper. In what he had to crawl through to stand here again when the world had already written him off. Rory didn't explode, didn't whine, he went silent. He disappeared, grinding in the dark, rebuilding his game from the ground up. After that messy driver scandal, he ghosted the headlines completely. And that's where the fire started burning again. No bold interviews, no attention-hungry posts, just early mornings on the range and long cold nights grinding under the floodlights. Rory rebuilt himself from scratch, swing by swing, inch by inch, like a man possessed. People close to his camp said he turned into a total lab rat, obsessed with spin rates, launch angles, and ball flight, chasing perfection like a scientist who refused to sleep. At some point, it stopped being about proving the PGA wrong. It became about proving himself right. The whispers got louder, the critics piled on, but Rory was cooking something major, and he was ready to silence them the only way he knows, through his game. By the time he stepped onto that Players' Championship course, everyone could feel it. Something in him had changed. You could see it in his walk, that calm swagger, that quiet storm behind every step. The way he gripped the club, eyes locked like a sniper zeroing in. This was vintage Rory, but sharper, colder, and more dangerous than ever before. His drives looked effortless, his focus unshakable, and his putting, like a laser slicing through every trace of doubt that once haunted him. Even the commentators who'd spent months writing his career obituary suddenly switched up mid-broadcast. They couldn't believe what they were watching. Then came the shot. The legendary 17th hole, one fearless swing, one perfect strike, dead center on the green. The crowd exploded in chaos, fans screaming his name, flashes popping like fireworks as Rory stood there, ice cold and unstoppable. But Rory didn't go wild. No jumping, no yelling, just that small, confident nod, the kind that says, "Yeah, I'm back." This wasn't a slow comeback creeping in. It was a full-blown rebirth exploding right in front of everyone's eyes. Then came the moment no golf fan will ever forget, that final putt. As the ball dropped and the win was sealed, Rory let his putter fall, took one deep breath, and walked straight into the arms of Erica and little Poppy. Cameras caught every second. The tears, the laughter, the weight lifting right off his shoulders in real time. It wasn't relief, it was redemption. He faced the rumors, the pressure, the controversy, and came out stronger, calmer, untouchable. That family hug said what no words ever could. Rory McIlroy was back, and the entire PGA felt it like a thunderclap across the sport. The cheers, the headlines, the disbelief. It all screamed one truth. The storm had returned, and its name was Rory McIlroy. This wasn't just another Rory McIlroy win. This was a defining chapter in his legacy. A bold, unshakable reminder to every critic that he's still the heartbeat of modern golf. But while the champagne sprayed and the cheers echoed, the real storm was only beginning. Because the aftershocks of Rory's victory started shaking the PGA straight to its core. The ripple effect from his triumph didn't just hit fans, it rocked the system itself. The PGA walls that once looked untouchable started to crack, exposing truths they'd ignored for way too long. Just days after his win, the same organization that doubted his composure and trashed his gear was suddenly the one under fire. According to Reuters, the PGA of America's CEO came out with a shocking public apology. Yes, a real one, directed at Rory and his family for the disgusting fan abuse he endured during the Ryder Cup. That kind of accountability from the PGA? Practically unheard of. But this wasn't just an apology for one ugly moment. It was a confession that they had completely underestimated the emotional storm Rory had been carrying all season. For once, the PGA had to face the truth. It wasn't just McIlroy who had something to prove. They did too. And now the entire world was watching every move they made. Because for years, Rory McIlroy hasn't just been a golfer. He's been the voice, the conscience, and the fighter of the sport itself. He's defended golf's traditions, called out its hypocrisy, and spoken up when everyone else stayed silent. And only after this roaring comeback did the establishment finally wake up to what Rory really means to the game. The same commentators who once called him too emotional or unpredictable were suddenly bowing down, calling him the face of resilience and heart. Rory didn't just win a tournament. He won back the soul of golf. Even the harshest voices inside the PGA were forced to change their tone. Suddenly everyone was praising his composure, his leadership, his fire. According to The Sun, event organizers later confessed they hadn't even realized how vile the fan abuse had gotten until after the Ryder Cup. But that so-called admission, it sounded a whole lot less like honesty and a whole lot more like straight-up damage control. For the first time in years, the PGA's tone flipped from power to apology, and suddenly the league looked a whole lot smaller next to its brightest star. Behind those polished boardroom doors, Rory's victory was shaking things up hard, forcing conversations they'd dodged for way too long. Officials were scrambling to fix what they'd ignored, from wild fan behavior to player treatment, even their crumbling credibility with top athletes. The PGA, the same league that always demanded respect, was finally being forced to give it back. Fans across social media were calling for real change, real accountability, no more PR fluff. Even rival golfers, the same ones who used to side-eye Rory, were quietly giving him respect for staying calm, keeping classy, and letting his swing do all the talking. He didn't just win a trophy, he flipped the entire power dynamic of professional golf. For the first time in forever, a player, not the institution, was calling the shots. By the end of that week, there was no denying it. Rory McIlroy wasn't just back, he was in control. The PGA's biggest name had reminded everyone who really keeps the sport's pulse beating and the headlines alive. But this wasn't the end, not even close. Rory's comeback didn't just close a messy chapter, it opened a brand new era. His Players' Championship triumph wasn't about redemption anymore, it was about reignition. With that trophy back in his hands and the whole world locked on his every move, one question started echoing through golf like thunder. What comes next? What will Rory McIlroy do next? Every legendary comeback deserves a second act, and this one is Rory's. The road ahead is stacked, from Augusta to St. Andrews, and every single swing he takes now hits different. Fans aren't just hoping for wins anymore, they're expecting history. After everything Rory's battled through, anything less than greatness won't cut it. Not for him, and definitely not for the world watching with their breath held tight. This victory didn't just revive his career, it rewrote it. And for the new generation coming up, Rory McIlroy isn't just competition anymore. He's the blueprint, the standard, the legend in motion. He's the standard now. Names like Victor Hovland and Ludwig Åberg keep calling him their inspiration. But after this win, that inspiration feels real, solid, and undeniable. His calm under pressure, his honesty when he speaks out, and his relentless bounce back after every setback, that's the new blueprint for greatness. And for the PGA, let's be real, Rory's story is a lifeline in a time when loyalty, authenticity, and real integrity feel rare. McIlroy's the one holding the torch high. He's given the PGA exactly what it was starving for. A hero. Not some brand puppet or corporate smile, but a real human face that stands for something bigger than money, fame, or sponsorships. The PGA needed someone to believe in again, and they found it in Rory McIlroy. But even legends know how to laugh at themselves. In a recent TalkSport interview, Rory cracked up telling the story of his worst purchase ever. A flashy luxury car he bought with his first paycheck that broke down just weeks later. Fans couldn't get enough. Because behind all the trophies, pressure, and headlines, he's still that same kid from Northern Ireland. Just Rory. Humble, passionate, and still madly in love with the game that made him who he is. But don't get it twisted. Rory McIlroy's story isn't just about golf anymore. It's about legacy, pride, and the truth that real greatness doesn't fade. It evolves. Every tournament he steps into now feels like a global event. Every swing, every stare, every press moment. There's an aura around him again, and the world feels it. That electric presence, the one that reminds everyone why he became the face of modern golf in the first place. It's back and stronger than ever. Insiders say he's moving with a whole new energy now. Calmer, sharper, completely unshakable. He's not chasing records for fame anymore, he's chasing them to etch his name alongside the legends. And deep down, even his rivals can feel it. You can hear it in the way they talk about him. The respect, the quiet envy, the realization that Rory's comeback isn't just personal, it's rewriting the entire PGA story. Because now, every headline, every swing, every roar from the crowd isn't just about the score, it's about the shift. Rory McIlroy has reignited golf's heartbeat in a way only the greats ever could. Kids are picking up golf clubs again, fired up by Rory's passion and grit. Sponsors are lining up, tournaments are selling out, and the sport once called too quiet suddenly feels alive again. And here's the wildest part. All this energy, all this rebirth came from a man who almost walked away from it all. Just months ago, people whispered that McIlroy might fade quietly into the shadows. But instead, he turned that silence into power. He came back swinging, smiling, proving that true class never collapses. It just waits for the perfect moment to roar. The message couldn't be clearer. Rory McIlroy isn't chasing the game anymore. The game is chasing him. And now the question burning in everyone's mind. What's next for Rory McIlroy? After rewriting the story and shaking the PGA to its core, he's standing on the edge of something bigger than a comeback. This feels like a full-blown reignition. Every tournament ahead looks like a fresh chapter waiting to be written, and fans can feel it. That unstoppable energy only Rory brings to the green. Insiders close to his circle say the fire in his eyes hasn't blazed this bright in years. He's sharper, calmer, more dangerous than ever. The man who once carried the weight of controversy now carries the weight of destiny. And he's doing it with undeniable style. Whether it's Augusta, St. Andrews, or any fairway in between, the world's watching, waiting to see if Rory McIlroy can turn this resurgence into a brand new era of dominance. But this isn't just about trophies anymore, it's about meaning. Rory's comeback reminded the world that golf isn't just precision and patience, it's heart, resilience, and the guts to stand tall when everything's falling apart. That's why fans aren't just cheering for a golfer anymore, they're cheering for a fighter who turned his struggles into straight-up strength. Even the analysts who once doubted him are admitting it now. McIlroy's influence has gone way beyond the sport itself. His words carry weight, his presence fills crowds, and his story lights a fire in millions. The PGA needed a spark, and Rory became the flame. So as the world watches him step up to that tee again, one thing's clear, this isn't just golf anymore, it's Rory's era. One thing's for sure, this isn't the end of Rory's story, it's the beginning of his legend. What do you think? Can Rory keep this fire burning and completely take over the season? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button, share this with your golf crew, and don't forget to subscribe for more on Rory McIlroy's unstoppable rise. See you in the next one. Because it's not just Rory's talent, it's that rare humility that's got the whole world rooting for him. Through every scandal, every rumor, every headline that tried to pull him down, he turned it all into fuel. And now he's swinging harder, sharper, and prouder than ever before. From whispers of decline to a roaring return to dominance, Rory McIlroy just reminded golf exactly who he is, and why the game still belongs to him. He's still the sport's beating heart. Rory didn't just win a trophy, he reignited the soul of golf. That mix of grace and grit, that calm confidence laced with quiet fire, it's turned him into more than just a player. He's a living symbol of resilience. Every time he steps on that course, you can feel it, that energy that screams, I'm still here, and I'm not done yet. His transformation, straight up legendary. He went from being questioned to being celebrated, from under fire to unstoppable. And sure, his rivals might still wait for a stumble, but one thing's undeniable. Rory McIlroy has already carved his name into golf history. Not as the man who fell, but as the champion who rose again. So now it's your turn. Do you think this epic comeback just changed Rory's legacy forever? Or was the PGA ever right to doubt him in the first place? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. And before you head out, smash that like button, hit subscribe to Golf Swing, and share this video with your golf crew. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Because Rory's story is far from over. The fire's burning, the game's alive, and the legend's still writing his next chapter. See you on the next one.